Hello guys, and welcome back to another video. Today I want to talk to you about a rare and beautiful pocket folding knife called the Oz Machine Company Roosevelt XL. This is just going to be my first impressions of this, not a full review. I've only had this knife for about a couple days, and I am familiar with knives at this price point and quality, such as Strider or Grimsmo, things like that, brands like that, around the same price and production precision. And I just wanted to give you my initial first thoughts of this beautiful, beautiful piece. I bought this on the secondhand market. I don't even really know how to get it on the primary market because these are so hard to find. Each one is essentially, they're almost a piece unique, each one, but it's all essentially one of one on a lot of these configurations, or like one of 3, one of 5, one of 10. The serial number is right here on this guy, 0609, 609, 609, right? So there's only 609 of these XLs ever made. And how many have this exact milling pattern, exact color on the blade, exact finishing on the blade and the handle and everything like that? Maybe only a few. This is called the zigzag milling pattern with a dark stonewash on the handle, dark stonewash blade. This is not a normal stonewash blade. I'm trying to show you the in the right light there. This is a dark stonewash, not a normal stonewash. It looks like that in real life, not like that. Looks like that. Okay. This has blue anodized hardware, all titanium hardware made in-house in Indiana. This knife is obviously completely made in America. If you're watching this video, I assume that you're probably familiar with this knife and you're considering buying it, so you probably already know a lot about it potentially, but it's all made in America essentially by one person or a couple people. This is let's talk about the blade. So the blade is a drop point full flat grind blade, meaning the point drops over here while when it comes down you have a nice curve with a big belly on the blade. And the full flat grind refers to the fact that this is a very, very slicey thin blade because it's ground fully flat from the bottom to the top, and that makes it slice through things in this direction very easily. Has a slight swedge here to make a slight harpoon tip, is for if you stab into something a little bit less resistance. But as you see here, there's also a large thumb hole, and that's for the opening. You can open it with 2 fingers here, just grab 2 fingers, just grabbing it, or you can flick it out with your thumb, or some people like to flick it out with their middle finger. I don't usually do that. God, this thing is so beautiful. I mean, the zigzag pattern in this is just stunning. And I have a lot of milled titanium objects, guys. I have over a dozen. And I know I feel like I know what I'm talking about when it comes to this one small thing. Okay, milled titanium knife scales. Trust me, these are nice. Just the way they catch the light, and the way that they did the hardware too is beautiful. I'll talk about that later. So anyway, so that's talked about the blade. There's some jimping on the top here, helps you get some grip. And there's a flat section on the top right there. See that? That is milled completely flat. And that is talking about right there. And that's nice because when you're holding the knife like this, your thumb rests right there. And it's very comfortable in that position to have a flat spot. Allows you to have a very nice purchase on it. I have fairly large hands, by the way. And just to give you a size comparison here, here's a Strider SMF. Ooh, did you guys hear that? Not the same drop shut action on the Strider, of course. Anyway, there's a Strider SMF in comparison. You see why I like this guy? I love I love Striders and love the SMF. Sorry for the jangly, but that's my keychain for retaining it on a lanyard. These are about the same size. Okay. And just like, and I have a large hand, since this is such a nice grip as well in the hand. Same deal here. Very ergonomic. Oof. This is even more comfortable. This is even more comfortable. And it's thinner too. Still love my Strider. And it's beefier. It's beefier. But even the performance grind here is not nearly as thin of a blade as this. This is like half the overall volume and thickness. Okay, so we'll go back to this guy, but there's the comparison. Perfect comparison. Strider SMF in Magna Cut, stonewash, everything with black hardware. So let's go back to the Roosevelt here. Okay, we went over the blade's that dark stonewash. Now, in terms of the action on this, I own, Striders, of course, but Striders are not known for their action, really. I own some Grimsmo knives, and I have some Chris Reeve knives, so the kind of a gamut of action styles. And I will say that I would say the Grimsmo knives are the most similar kind of action I have to this, but this has a very unique action of its own because it has a double detent system using ceramic balls, similar to the way the Chris Reeve knife uses the ceramic ball as both the detent and the blade interface. This does that, and it does that with two instead of one, and it makes it so unique. This is different. This is similar to smoothness to Grimsmo, but even like easier to get perfect every time in a way because of that double detent. Okay, and you can just hear how smooth this is. Listen closely. Did you hear that? Just pure metal. That's it. Super, super clean mechanics here. So the action is very, very clean and crisp. And the feeling is different than the Strider because you have less blade material here. Even though you have a big blade, there's less blade material. It has a very reverberant feel and sound. Makes a lot of noise, loud click. And it's very reverberant because of the perfection of everything is so well balanced and so solid that it just feels like it vibrates through, and it's just extremely satisfying. God, did you see that? This is that's legitimate perfection. If you're talking about a drop shut knife that's controlled, unless you want the full guillotine. But this is which I don't like. But I'm saying once you break this past here, that sensation, you'll feel how smooth it is. And this knife is very thin, but it's feels very, very solid. But that kind of goes without saying at this price point, especially since it has the back spacer. That helps. That helps a lot. And it feels great, man. This knife feels like a Strider SMF mixed with a Grimsmo Rask, which I already also have as well. I just don't have it on the table right now. But a Grimsmo Rask is, a thinner, is a thin slicey knife as well. But the Oz Roosevelt has a tall blade, just like the Strider, even taller, but a tall big blade. But it's much slicier than the Strider. Thinner blade stock, different blade geometry. Also, it's M390 versus Magna Cut, so arguably better for, you know, edge retention, um, edge retention activities. And this is better for all around, but this is actually a better steel for edge retention and cutting cardboard boxes or things like that. So the action is phenomenal. It's unique in its own way, how I explained, and it is similar to Grimsmo. Um, However, it has a unique double detent system, so it has really a unique sound. Whereas there's only like one click. That's a big deal, um, and it's just absolutely so satisfying to use, to undo and ado. Let's talk about the grip and the ergonomics a little bit. I did touch on it, but yeah, just to reiterate, the grip is fantastic. You can grip it either back here, or the better way really is to be up here. Gives you a lot more control over the knife, and it's so comfortable. The way the pocket clip is too, it's very, very comfortable. Everything is chamfered and finished to be comfortable on this knife. Every single part of it. I'll talk about that in a bit, but that relates to the grip because it doesn't that you don't there's no hot spots on the grip when you're holding it properly, um, because of the way this is made. Let's get into that finishing. So the blade finish, I would say, is absolutely it leaves nothing to be desired, quality wise, coming from someone who has a lot of other blades around this price point. Remember, and I'm comparing it to that experience. It leaves nothing to be desired. It could not really be done better. This kind of dark stone, it's like an acid wash, stone wash. I'll go close up on that for you guys. Kind of tough to see, on video. It just doesn't come across, um, no matter how hard I try. But it's a really nice dark wash there. And then as for the blade, this is also a dark stone wash. So, you know, basically what that means is that it's not that normal bright silvery color. It's a more of a dark gray color, especially in the valleys. And then in the on the peaks, you have more of a silvery color, that's not as matte, and it's more shiny, because basically they put it through a certain type of media, and then after that they either put it through a different type of media, or they maybe hand buff off a little bit of that darker gray finish, and basically you're left with the dark gray in the valleys and the light silver in the peaks on this finish. And it's really quite cool, this finish, how it's not even uniform. So it seems like they took the tool and maybe like raised it or turned it in the middle of the operation. Okay, I'm talking about like in the middle there. You see how it's like tighter there than and wider here. Okay, and tighter here, wider here. It's not just even. There's just so much depth to this. Okay, things that people like us appreciate and no one else does. So few people. But also, like, look at the little anodization button, little dot coming through, where the that is the over travel stop, and part of the lock bar. It's the lock bar stabilizer and over travel stop. The back of it, it's in there. It's in there. Um, but the finish on this knife is really, really, really good. The milling is the most important part to get right on something like this. That really sets the tone. And then the actual, like the stone wash and stuff like that, is afterwards. And they got both of those right. Then in terms of the finishing, meaning like around the edges, even though it's more part of, since it's like a CNC operation, that's more a part of the machining. But still, like the way that they chamfer all these edges at 45 degrees or whatever that is, I'm talking about all this. You see this, guys? How it's rounded off. It makes it all comfortable. And it's not just rounded off on like the top and the bottom. It's rounded off every single place you could possibly round it off. Let me try to get this in the shot here. Okay. I'll show you. So the bottom is all along here. Even like this piece is micro chamfered. Chamfers on both sides of these, both sides of both of these, all the way down. Both sides of both of these, all the way down, all the way down the scales. Around the back too. Everything, every single thing is completely chamfered. There's a backspacer in here. The backspacer is even chamfered on both sides. Outside is chamfered on both sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 chamfers right there, back to back. Then 7 here on the pocket clip, and even the whole pocket clip is chamfered all around. Just crazy. Just crazy. So speaking of great finishing too, god damn, they nailed the anodization on this. The way the anodization looks in real life, it's hard to describe. But do you see how it's like goes from lighter to darker there? I'm talking about the little. That's the pivot, right? It's anodized titanium, and it looks light blue in some lights, dark blue in some lights, and purple in some lights. And it's not even the blurple, which is a combination blue and purple. It's not even that one. From what I understand, and it's just God. Seriously, the finish on this, the way they anodized this and finished it, is unlike any other knife I've ever seen. Even like my Grimsmo anodization, it looks so different. It looks matte, completely matte and satiny and gorgeous. The Grimsmo one is still beautiful, but it's totally shiny. It's a different approach. I like this matte one a lot though, especially against the gray. And you see this is all matching anodization here, so you have the 2 screws here. There's only 2 screws here and 1 screw there on the whole knife. And these 2 screws go through a backspacer. That's solid titanium right there. Okay, let's talk about the clip. Moving on. The clip, the finishing on the clip itself is completely in line with the rest of the knife, if you can see that. You see how the wave is perfectly in line. It's perfectly lined up. And the finishing is gorgeous. It's chamfered all around, as we spoke about. And then the clip itself has a really nice high ramp and is very stiff, very stout. This is a big clip, guys. I gotta be honest. Like you'll see, like it's even longer than the Strider clip. Even longer than the Strider clip. This thing is not moving out of your pocket with this thing. It's in deep, secure. It's deeply secured here. I'm telling you, which is great. Which is great. Close. The clip is up like that. Looks gorgeous, man. This knife closed. Like, just look at the shape of it. The shape of it, how it's like comes down like this, evenly, nice and evenly. That hole, how the hole perfectly lines up with the knife handle finger cut out there. It's so easy to open this knife. I kind of have to hold it at a weird angle for the camera. Which I'm getting used to. So, overall, the size and the slimness is a great combo here. Okay, having a large knife that is very thin, the blade and the body is easy to carry, very, very useful. And in terms of just like an object of beauty, this thing is just awesome because it's big, which makes it easy to look at and appreciate, easy to take apart, easy to put back together. Look, you see how the light catch you see how the light catches that right there? So beautiful right there. So beautiful. That's what I do with my knives all day. I mean, if I'm looking at them, like rotate them around with the light. Really gorgeous, guys. This knife is this knife is absolutely beautiful. Nothing more to say. I think I rest my case. I'm gonna wrap it up, and yeah, this thing is absolutely a work of art, work of machining beauty, a masterpiece. Daniel Osborne is a master at work. This is my first Oz Machine Co. And it's nice to get in early with makers, but not that we're not early still, but it's nice that they're 609 knives into this and that they've made 4 or 5,000 other ones, I think, at least. I like that because basically the kinks are worked out with this knife at this point, like the major ones, if there's any. But this thing is just absolutely gorgeous and very unique. It's like between the Strider and the Grimsmo. Double detent ceramic ball action. Sounds like a Rolex. Beautiful. All right, guys. I'll let you go. I'll see you in the next one, and have a good day. Peace.